Good morning. Thank you for joining me today. Be kind of quiet here. Okay. So this morning we will be in Song of Songs, chapter 1, verse 1, through chapter 4, verse 16. The Song of Songs, which is Solomon's. May he kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for your love is better than wine. A different translation here. The fragrance of your cologne is delightful. Your name is like the finest perfume. No wonder the young men adore you. Draw me after you. Let us hurry. May the king bring me into his bedroom chambers, the maidens to the lover. We will rejoice and delight in you. We will praise your love more than wine. The beloved to her lover. How rightly the young women adore you. The beloved to the maidens. I am dark, but lovely, O maidens of Jerusalem, dark like the tents of Kedar, lovely like the tent curtains of Salma. Do not stare at me because I am dark, for the sun has burned my skin. My brothers were angry with me. They made me the keeper of the vineyards. Alas, my own vineyard I could not keep. The beloved to her lover. Tell me, O you whom my heart loves, where do you pasture your sheep? Where do you rest your sheep during the midday heat? Tell me, lest I wander around beside the flocks of your companions. The lover to his beloved. If you do not know, O most beautiful of women, simply follow the tracks of my flock, and pasture your little lambs beside the tents of the shepherds. The lover to his beloved. O my beloved, you are like a mare among Pharaoh's stallions. Your cheeks are beautiful with ornaments. Your neck is lovely with strings of pearls. We will make for you gold ornaments studded with silver. The beloved about her lover. While the king was at his banqueting table, my nard gave forth its fragrance. My beloved is like a fragrant pouch of myrrh, spending the night between my breasts. My beloved is like a cluster of henna blossoms in the vineyards of En-gedi. The lover to his beloved. Oh, how beautiful you are, my beloved. Oh, how beautiful you are. Your eyes are like doves. The beloved to her lover. Oh, how handsome you are, my lover. Oh, how delightful you are. The lush foliage is our canopied bed. The cedars are the beams of our bedroom chamber. The pines are the rafters of our bedroom. I'm a meadow flower from Sharon, a lily from the valleys. The lover to his beloved. Like a lily among the thorns, so is my darling among the maidens. The beloved about her lover. Like an apple tree among the trees of the forest, so is my beloved among the young men. I delight to sit in his shade, and his fruit is sweet to my taste. The beloved about her lover. He brought me into the banquet hall, and he looked at me lovingly, sustained me with raisin cakes, refreshed me with apples, for I am faint with love. The double refrain, embracing and adjuration. His left hand caresses my head, and his right hand stimulates me. The beloved to the maidens. I adjure you, O maidens of Jerusalem, by the gazelles and by the young does of the open fields, do not awaken or arouse love until it pleases. The beloved about her lover. Listen, my lover is approaching. Look, here he comes, leaping over the mountains, bounding over the hills. My lover is like a gazelle or a young stag. Look, there he stands behind our wall, gazing through the window, peering through the lattice. The lover to his beloved. My lover spoke to me, saying, Arise, my darling, my beautiful one, come away with me. Look, the winter is past, the winter rains are over and gone. The pomegranates have appeared in the land. The time for pruning and singing has come. The voice of the turtle dove is heard in our land. The fig tree has budded, the vines have blossomed and given off their fragrance. Arise, come away, my darling. My beautiful one, come away with me. The lover to his beloved. O my dove, in the clefts of the rock, in the hiding places of the mountain crags, let me see your face, let me hear your voice, for your voice is sweet, and your face is lovely. The beloved to her lover. Catch the foxes for us, the little foxes that ruin the vineyard, for our vineyard is in bloom. The beloved about her lover. My lover is mine, and I am his. He grazes among the lilies. The beloved to her lover. Until the dawn arrives and the shadows flee, turn, my beloved, be like a gazelle or a young stag on the mountain gorges. All night long, on my bed, I longed for my lover. I longed for him, but he never appeared. I will arise and look all around, throughout the town, and throughout the streets and squares. I will search for my beloved. I searched for him, but I did not find him. The night watchmen found me, the ones who guard the city walls. Have you seen my beloved? Scarcely had I passed them by when I found my beloved. I held on to him tightly, and would not let him go until I brought him to my mother's house, to the bedroom chamber of the one who conceived me. The adoration refrain, the beloved to the maidens. I admonish you, O maidens of Jerusalem, by the gazelles and by the young does of the open fields, do not awake or arouse love until it pleases. The speaker. Who is this coming up from the desert, like a column of smoke, like a fragrant billow of myrrh and frankincense, every kind of fragrant powder of the traveling merchants? Look, it is Solomon's portable couch. It is surrounded by 60 warriors, some of Israel's mightiest warriors. All of them are skilled with the sword, well trained in the art of warfare. Each has his sword at his side, to guard against the terrors of the night. King Solomon made a sedan chair for himself of wood, imported from Lebanon. Its posts were made of silver. Its back was made of gold. Its seat was upholstered with purple wool. Its interior was inlaid with leather by the maidens of Jerusalem. Come out, O maidens of Zion, and gaze upon King Solomon. He is wearing the crown with which his mother crowned him on his wedding day, on the most joyous day of his life. Oh, you are beautiful, my darling. Oh, you are beautiful. Your eyes behind your veil are like doves. Your hair is like a flock of female goats descending from Mount Gilead. Your teeth are like a flock of newly shorn sheep coming up from the washing place. Each of them has a twin, and not one of them is missing. Your lips are like a scarlet thread. Your mouth is lovely. Your forehead behind your veil is like a slice of pomegranate. Your neck is like the Tower of David, built with courses of stones. 1,000 shields are hung on it, all shields of valiant warriors. Your 2 breasts are like 2 fawns, twins of the gazelle, grazing among the lilies. Until the dawn arrives and the shadows flee, I will go up to the mountain of myrrh, and to the hill of frankincense. You are altogether beautiful, my darling. There is no blemish in you. Come with me from Lebanon, my bride. Come with me from Lebanon. Descend from the crest of Amana, from the top of Senir, the summit of Hermon, from the lion's dens, and the mountain haunts of the leopards. You have stolen my heart, my sister, my bride. You have stolen my heart with one glance of your eyes, with one jewel of your necklace. How delightful is your love, my sister, my bride. How much better is your love than wine. The fragrance of your perfume is better than any spice. Your lips drip sweetness like the honeycomb. My bride, honey and milk are under your tongue. The fragrance of your garments is like the fragrance of Lebanon, the lover to his beloved. You are a locked garden, my sister, my bride. You are an enclosed spring, a sealed-up fountain. Your shoots are a royal garden full of pomegranates with choice fruits, henna with nard and saffron, calamus and cinnamon, with every kind of spice, myrrh and aloes, with all the finest spices. You are a garden spring, a well of fresh water flowing down from Lebanon. The beloved to her lover. Awake, O north wind, come, O south wind, blow in my garden, so that its fragrant spices may send out their sweet smell. May my beloved come into his garden and eat its delightful fruit. Well, there you go. Yeah, it's certainly a spicy book. I guess a couple of notes here. Just struck by the fact that it's not like a one-sided type um, love poem dedicated to one or the other, but it's mutual in that there's mutual adoration from both sides, and both enjoy each other's presence. So I guess different from love poems that tend to just have one side in view. Um, this side is a call and response, as you will, or not a call and response, but you have both the maiden and the male talking about one another. Yeah. which I've heard this book is to represent something of the relationship between God and the church. Shoot, I also had something else. Well, I've forgotten it completely. Oh well. The Song of Songs, this great song or collection of poetic songs, is unique in the Bible. If the Song of Solomon was not in our Bible and we were to discover it as an ancient document from the time of Solomon, it is unlikely that we would include it in the collection of Old Testament books. No matter what one calls this book, it has rightly been highly praised, even by those who have interpreted it in somewhat allegorical and speculative ways. The entire history of the world from its beginning to this very day does not outshine that day on which this book was given to Israel. All the scriptures, indeed, are holy, but the Song of Songs is the Holy of Holies. Rabbi Akiba, an early Jewish commentator on Song of Solomon. Spurgeon preached 59 sermons on this book. Oh, yeah, that's the point I was intending to make. That Christianity, unlike other religions, places no ugliness on sexual relations. Rather, that they are appropriate in their appropriate place. And doesn't disdain them as being somehow unholy, if indeed it is observed in its correct place. So, many different interpretive approaches have been used in understanding this great song. Some avoid this book altogether. Origen, an important teacher in the early church, said of the Song of Solomon, "I advise and counsel everyone who is not yet rid of vexations of the flesh and blood, and has not ceased to feel the passions of this bodily nature, to refrain from reading the book and the things that will be said about it." Origen apparently felt he was prepared to study Song of Solomon because he castrated himself when he was a young man. Whoa, dude. Others embrace this book with great devotion, but see it primarily as an allegory describing the love relationship between God and his people, not between a husband and wife. The early Jewish rabbis taught that the book pictures God's love for Israel. Early Christian writers took the same approach, but they replaced Israel with the church. One writer in the 3rd century wrote a 10-volume commentary on Song of Solomon telling how the book describes God's love for Christians. Trapp expresses this perspective. The chief speakers are not Solomon and the Shulamite, but Christ and his church. Others see this book primarily as a drama dealing with 3 characters: Solomon, a simple country shepherd, and the young maiden. Solomon, a simple country shepherd, and the young maiden. The idea is that Solomon one day traveled through his kingdom and saw the young maiden and was captivated by her beauty. Though she was betrothed to the simple shepherd, Solomon brought her back to his palace and tried to win her affection with all lavish gifts and loving words. Though her resolve wavered just before she gave in to Solomon's attention and affection, she fled his palace and went back to her simple shepherd, her true love. The best way to see this book is as a literal, powerful description of the romantic and sensual love between a man and woman, observing both their courtship and their marriage. It does not give us a smooth chronological story, beginning with the introduction of the couple to one another and ending with their married life together. Instead, it is a collection of snapshots of their courting and married life, with the pictures not necessarily in order. Yet, because God deliberately uses the marriage relationship as an illustration of the relationship that he has with his people, we find that this great Song of Songs illustrates the love, the intensity, and the beauty of relationship that should exist between God and the believer. This is clearly a secondary meaning, sublimated to the plain literal meaning, yet nevertheless valid and important. Yeah, I guess just shows the sweetness of married relationship. The fact that this greatest of all songs focuses on romance and marital love shows us what a high regard God has for the institution of marriage. We might expect that the Song of Songs be a song that only praises God instead of one that celebrates love and sensuality within marriage. The idea is decidedly contrary to the negative view towards marriage that came early in the history of the Church. In 325, at the Council of Nicaea, a proposal was made to prohibit all clergy from living as married, but the council did not approve the proposal. In 386, Pope Siricius commanded that all priests live as celibates, and later this order was extended to include deacons in the church. In this period, many people who were ordained as priests were already married. Leo the Great, out of concern for these wives, did not allow priests to put their wives away, but commanded that the priest and his wife live together as brother and sister, that is, without any sexual relationship. This command led to the rule that a married man could not be ordained as a priest unless he and his wife took a vow that they would live as celibate, and then led further to the refusal to ordain anyone who was or had been married. Dang. Yeah, I've got specific admonishments by Paul in mind when I read that particular bit. That they should, like, that's one of the roles of marriage, and Paul advised them not to withhold themselves from each other, and thus encourage each other to sin, that is, commit adultery outside of the marriage relationship. Yeah. I think this also kind of shows that I think sometimes holiness is equated with a lack of enjoyment in things of, oh, you can't have fun and be holy at the same time. But I think within if we are living as God has intended us to live, then there is a great deal of enjoyment to be had. So, and we shouldn't fall into a trap of asceticism, that is, inflicting ourselves with pain for the purpose of gaining in holiness. The Bible does not see marriage as an inferior state, a concession to human weakness, nor does it see the normal physical love within that relationship as necessarily impure. Marriage was instituted before the fall by God with the command that the first couple become one flesh. Therefore, physical love within that conjugal union is good, is God's will, and should be a delight to both partners. The prospect of children is not necessary to justify sexual love in marriage. Significantly, the Song of Songs makes no reference to procreation. Nevertheless, over hundreds and hundreds of years in Christianity, the dominant view was that sexual passion and true spirituality were contradictory and opposed to each other. This idea that, for the truly spiritual, sexuality was repressed led to a greater emphasis on the idea that we are to be passionately devoted to Jesus Christ as a superior replacement of our sexual desires. The result of this perspective was that the medieval church had a love affair with the Song of Songs. An eroticism precluded at the human level was permitted at the divine. No book of Scripture received such attention between Augustine and Luther. What Galatians was to the Reformers, the Song of Songs was to the church for 1,000 years. Yeah. And I think it's harmful, essentially, to demand celibacy out of the clergy, because I think it leads to a lot of the immorality that we see today, unfortunately. We learn that Solomon, the son of David and one of the great kings of ancient Israel, composed this song. Solomon composed some 1,005 songs, and this was the greatest among them. The mention of Solomon brings up another problem with understanding the Song of Solomon, mainly, who are the characters speaking in this collection of poems, and how do we assign specific speaking lines to the specific characters? It must be admitted that the assignment of certain lines to certain individuals is somewhat subjective and will differ from translator to translator. The young maiden is often called the Shulamite. The girl is usually identified as a country girl from Shunem, a small agricultural village in Lower Galilee. Some commentators suggest that she is one of Solomon's many wives, perhaps even the Egyptian princess described in 1 Kings 3:1. Perhaps the Song of Solomon does not reflect Solomon's actual experience, certainly not in an enduring sense, but his wise analysis and skillful presentation of the glory of romantic and sensual love, more in theory than in his enduring experience. Solomon was not the first nor the last wise man that lived as a fool when it came to romance and sexuality. Anyhow, carrying on. 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verses 16 through 24. But thanks be to God, who put in the heart of Titus the same devotion I have for you, because he not only accepted our request, but since he was very eager, he is coming to you of his own accord. And we are sending along with him the brother who is praised by all the churches for his work in spreading the gospel. In addition, this brother has also been chosen by the churches as our traveling companion, as we administer this generous gift to the glory of the Lord himself and to show our readiness to help. We did this as a precaution so that no one should blame us in regard to this generous gift we are administering, for we are concerned about what is right, not only before the Lord, but also before men. And we are sending with them our brother, whom we have tested many times and found eager in many matters, but who now is much more eager than ever because of the great confidence he has in you. If there is any question about Titus, he is my partner and fellow worker among you. If there is any question about our brothers, they are messengers of the churches, a glory to Christ. Therefore, show them openly before the churches the proof of your love and of our pride in you. The fact that he sends a tested brother to them, one workman who is approved, I think demonstrates a bit for me that it's important that things be done in wisdom. That is, not to just foolishly trust those who aren't worthy of that trust, and therefore, in this case, endanger this great sum of resources that the church had prepared, but to administer the resources wisely. So, also in the sight of men, is a reminder that all things financial in the church should be conducted above board and properly. Paul took whatever steps were necessary, so no one could blame him with financial impropriety. Paul could write like a poet and think like a theologian, but he could also act with the meticulous accuracy and integrity of the best accountant. Psalms, chapter 50, verses 1 through 23. A psalm of Asaph, the mighty one, God, the Lord, has spoken, and summoned the earth from the rising of the sun to its setting. From Zion, the most beautiful of all places, God comes in splendor. Our God approaches and is not silent. Consuming fire goes ahead of him, and all around him a storm rages. He summons the heavens above, as well as the earth, so that he might judge his people. He says, "Assemble, my covenant people, before me, those who ratified a covenant with me by sacrifice." The heavens declare his fairness, for God is judge. Selah. He says, "Listen, my people, I am speaking. Listen, Israel, I am accusing you. I am God, your God. I am not condemning you because of your sacrifices, or because of your burnt sacrifices that you continually offer me. I do not need to take a bull from your household, or goats from your sheepfolds, for every wild animal in the forest belongs to me, as well as the cattle that graze on 1,000 hills. I keep track of every bird in the hills, and the insects of the field are mine. Even if I were hungry, I would not tell you, for the world and all it contains belong to me. Do I eat the flesh of bulls? Do I drink the blood of goats? Present to God a thank offering. Repay your vows to the Sovereign One. Pray to me when you are in trouble. I will deliver you, and you will honor me. God says this to the evildoer: How can you declare my commands and talk about my covenant? For you hate instruction and reject my words. When you see a thief, you join him. You associate with men who are unfaithful to their wives. You do damage with words and use your tongue to deceive. You plot against your brother. You slander your own brother. When you did these things, I was silent, so you thought I was exactly like you. But now I will condemn you and state my case against you. Carefully consider this, you who reject God. Otherwise I will rip you to shreds, and no one will be able to rescue you. Whoever presents a thank offering honors me. To whoever obeys my commands, I will reveal my power to deliver. Yeah, contrary to the supposed gods of the pagan that depended on human sacrifice as a means to sustain themselves and had servants and people to tend their house. God is not like that. Everything on earth belongs to him. And so these sacrifices aren't for the purpose of sustaining God, because he himself sustains everything. Yeah. They're more symbols and ceremonies to represent other things like thankfulness and repentance. But what immediately follows it, I think, is interesting. That is God lodging his complaint against the people regarding their unlawful, immoral behavior. That is, being companions with a thief, doing damage with words, plotting against their brothers. But God didn't answer immediately. That is, immediately condemn the evil actions by punishing it. So the people said instead that God is, when you did these things, I was silent, so you thought I was exactly like you. That is, God doesn't care. But it's not for that purpose that God was silent. Merely, I think, let unlawfulness build up so that it can be shown as utterly sinful and give a chance for repentance. So, yeah, that is in 50:22. Carefully consider this, you who reject God. Otherwise, I will rip you to shreds, and no one will be able to rescue you. That is, consider this, that there will be a final judgment, and that you should mend your ways. So, rather than offer sacrifice. Proverbs 22, verses 22 and 23. Do not exploit a poor person because he is poor, and do not crush the needy in court, for the Lord will plead their case and will rob those who are robbing them. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you have a great day.